We are live with our 43rd installment of Nansen Office Hours. Alex, how you doing this week?
Day 8 of hotel quarantine, feeling fresh. Haven't had air or sun in more than a week, but feeling good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I feel like we've diverged here. I've been just like completely outside in fresh air, not to brag or anything, but I've been I've been absorbing maximum vitamin D and fresh air. Yeah, amazing. You can see our complexions from last week. Like I've just gotten a little bit more tanned. You've gotten a little bit more
pale, a little bit more chubby,
a little more Nordic, let's say, returning to roots. Very short days in the winter.
Just need a Viking helmet.
Yeah. Where's your kimono today?
Yeah, I think I left it in New York.
It is what it is.
Yeah, so you're in what, Southern California?
I am in Southern California, so it's a bit early here, 6:17, and I would say today's episode is a bit more off the cuff than usual. We have a bit of a conversation before to prepare. Today, I was sleeping and Alex was doing some
speed networking.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, we're doing a speed networking event organized by Hans, Olav, and Liz. And we were using something called Gather Town, which is like the metaverse in 8 bits, walking around, talking to each other. We had a nice little room. I posted a tweet about it, which you can have a look at. And it was pretty fun, just doing like 4 minutes with, different people. We've grown to 52 people in the team, so not everyone has met each other. I think 20, pretty much almost half of that was like new people who came in last quarter. So many people have not met other people. So that's why we do this kind of things. And we are in 21 different countries. So we have to do this stuff like virtually. So it was pretty fun. I think it was a good experiment. Worked out nicely.
Good. Is there going to be another one sometime soon?
Yeah, probably. I guess we'll be doing them maybe every 2-3 weeks or so.
Oh wow, that's pretty frequent. Okay.
I mean, when you add like on average 1 or 2 new team members every week, you want to make sure that people are up to date. But maybe it could be once a month as well.
That makes sense. The reason why I wasn't there, well, A, because I'm sleeping, or I was sleeping, and 2, this is a little announcement. I will be taking a couple months off and exploring California, exploring the Pacific Northwest, enjoying life, absorbing vitamin D, and observing the rest of the cycle from afar a little bit.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. The NFT flipping paid off.
No comment. But yeah, it's been an extremely fun year. So I mean, it's kind of crazy to think this is our 43rd episode of this. We've been doing this for 43, I guess 42 weeks, because there was that one episode with Daryl. But 42 weeks.
That is true. 42. The answer to the question of the meaning of life.
Sure. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy one. I think I said it at the beginning quite eloquently. This week I don't remember. But anyways, let's not get too caught up in the weeds. I
want to mention one more thing before we dive in.
Sure.
Because I get a lot of DMs now from journalists, and I was actually responding to journalists from like some TV channel in Canada and a TV channel in Russia, because I've gone viral with my flight from
Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Alexander, because I was the only passenger on the flight, and now I'm like basically answering journalists about this flight, which is like hilarious. I mean, how newsworthy is this really? But for the last few days, journalists have just been like aping into my DMs, trying to get me to comment on this very interesting story.
you're not thinking big picture enough. Next time they ask that, you need to say, I will be making a comment live on Wednesday morning or Wednesday evening your
Office
time
hours. Yeah.
during office hours.
Office
And then we
hours.
get some media
It's
coverage.
a press conference. It's a press conference. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Next
with that said, now we can dive in. You can do your little intro on what Nansen
All right.
office hours is.
Well, if this is your first time joining us at Nansen Office Hours, this is basically an hour-long conversation between Mr. Alexander, the token god, and myself. And yeah, we basically just chat. We dive into dashboards, Nansen dashboards. We talk about certain things that are happening in the markets, and we answer any questions you guys have in the chat. So it's actually a very active chat today. And so hello to everyone there. At this point, there's quickly too many people. I'm going to rattle through names here real quick. Isis, Monstier, Paul, James, Satisflow, Uris, Crab Milk, C, Das, Your Happy Friend, Kevin Park, Pittsburgh, The Test, Aram, Billion, SB, and Soli Soul, GM to you all. We're happy to have you here.
GM.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat, whether it's projects you want us to look into, opportunities you found and you want to share with other people, all that good stuff. Anything we cover on this show is not financial advice. We are not making any recommendations other than to use Nansen. I think we can safely shield that one. But yeah, do your own research. The dashboards and tools that we provide are there to help you do just that. And so without further ado, Alex, maybe you can share your screen and we can dig in here.
Let's do it. Share screen. Alrighty, here we are at Nansen HQ, the homepage. This will be familiar to many of you, unless this is the first time you see Nansen. So you have hot contracts here on Ethereum and Polygon, which means basically new contracts where there's smart money and not smart money flowing in the last 24 hours. You have the top gas consumers. So smart contracts that are burning a lot of gas, meaning they are spending a lot of transaction fees on Ethereum. You have hot NFT collections, and you have some stablecoin net exchange flow, smart money token holdings, and some other stuff. So there's a lot of things we can dive into here. But actually, maybe before we start clicking at these things, we want to show a few new features and new dashboards this time around. Maybe we can start with this. You see there's a little new icon here, and there's also a new icon there. So we can start with the projects, Axie Infinity. And this is newsworthy, unlike my trip from Abu Dhabi to Singapore, because they just recently closed a Series B round with A16Z, Axel, and Paradigm. I should mention I am also personally an investor from the beginning. That's my claim to fame in the investment world, having been a seed investor in Axie Infinity. Very proud of that. But we have a dashboard now, which is powered by Ronin, the Axie Infinity blockchain itself. And you can see lots of interesting stats on Axie. So like the daily revenues, you can see here over time. You can see, well, the same data, but in cumulative terms over here with marketplace fees and breeding fees. Breeding fees are the bulk of revenues generated on Ronin. You can see some macro stats here. You can see that most of the fees and revenues come from Ronin, very little from Ethereum at this point, although they were originally on Ethereum. And Axie also launched staking recently. So we have data on how much money is flowing into the staking contract. You can see the gross deposits and the withdrawals, and then you can see the net flow of that. So you can see that mostly Axie tokens or AXS are flowing into the staking contract. On a few days, there's been net outflow, but pretty much every day there's been inflow. And you can see also how much money is staked. About $1.7 billion worth of AXS is staked at the moment. There's also lots of other stats on like SLP or Smooth Love Potion, and then revenue distribution stats, and then some historical revenues from Ethereum, because that's where you used to breed Axies before Ronin. So definitely check this out if you're interested in Axie Infinity. And yeah, with the latest fundraising round of, I think, $152 million, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they get up to.
Yep. GG to our friends over at Sky Mavis for that round.
Yeah, I also met Jiho in New York. He's a great guy. I think it was the second time I met him in person. First time was in Ho Chi Minh City in 2019. Cool. Maybe we could look at the
wait.
Yeah.
Before we go further, I think we can go a little bit deeper on that. But first, would you mind extending your screen a little bit?
Oh yeah, extending in what way though?
We're looking to get some vertical length here, just to max out our real estate.
I can't go more vertical.
Okay,
I've maxed out my screen. I'm on a pathetic MacBook Air, so that's the best I can do in this quarantine.
Last week, I saw someone mention that they would prefer we hide our faces altogether and just show the screen.
Okay.
If you're a fan of that, mention it in the chat. I don't know. Maybe you want to see our giggling faces. It might be more engaging. Let us know if you want us to experiment with that. Maybe you can get higher resolution screen cap. Okay. The second thing is, I'm gonna lob a question, an open-ended question your way, and you can answer it however you want. This is partly based on a question from the chat here, but also from myself, who's been kind of watching the AXS price action from afar. If I say to you, what the fuck is going on with AXS? Take that however you want. Number keep going up. It keeps going up.
Yeah. Okay. So, not financial advice. It's very hard to predict crypto markets, right? So I'm not going to say if its price is going to go up or down. I can only give my opinion on what's going on. So first of all, I think they have really paved the way for NFT-powered games and blockchain games. They are like almost like a category creator. And so when you have like more than 1 million daily active users, I think maybe it's even 2 million at this point. I don't know the exact numbers, but they have a lot of people playing, right? There's like genuine organic activity in the Axie world, and AXS, has been used for breeding Axies, and now you can also stake it. So I think what people sometimes do is they look at like the FDV, the fully diluted value. So if you go on like CoinGecko, for example, and you just look at like Axie here, and you can look at there's circulating supply, then there's fully diluted, like $35 billion, right? That's a lot. But the thing is, that money, I mean, those tokens aren't really available, like they're not circulating. And even the circulating supply, if you look at I think it's stake at Axie Infinity. Why is it so hard to spell Infinity? There we go. A lot of this is locked up, right? I mean, actually not that much from the total float here, which is the total supply is 270 mil and it's only 13 mil here, so actually not very much at all. But a lot of these tokens are just not available for purchase, so you have to think about the supply and demand dynamics of that. There's just not that much Axie available to buy, even if the FDV is 35 billion. So I feel like people have been calling the top on AXS since like $1, and then it went to like 5, and then to 10, and then to 20, and then to 50, and then 70, 80, whatever. And so it's very hard to say where this stops. But if I look at CoinGecko, Cardano has 72 billion market cap, and it's basically what does Cardano do? What can you do on Cardano? Have you ever used Cardano?
Careful. We don't need to get an army of ADA shills.
I don't think they watched our show anyway. They were busy watching Charles Hoskinson on YouTube. So
him DJing.
you know, my point is like, by no means am I comparing Axie to Cardano, but like, it's really hard to try to explain crypto prices and market caps purely on rationality and sort of fundamentals and things like that. And so when you combine all these different things, like there's a very hyper viral game, there's like millions of people playing it, they have tons of exposure, they have a massive treasury now, you know, who knows where it can go. Like I literally don't know. Of course I am invested in Axie Infinity, you know, again, full disclosure, so I don't want to say it can go up or it will go down, but it is really, really hard to make confident predictions about it. For example, like this is where you short it or something like that. You've seen so many people get liquidated trying to do that on the way up. So
can we do a speed run through token god mode for it? Or do we cover it on Ronin?
No, we don't have a token god mode for Ronin yet. And the more annoying thing is that actually their token has like 2 versions, because they first issued one and they had to issue another one because there was a small bug in the old one. So it's, you know, not super interesting to look at it on Ethereum. Although you can see like there's tokens flowing out which probably are being moved to Ronin and then being staked.
Yeah.
So we have this though. We can look at this too. This should probably be marked with new.
Yeah, I haven't seen this actually.
So this is like, also maybe it should be, you know, a tab on the Axie Infinity one, because this is just Ronin stats. So you can see things like AXS, SLP, but you can also see there's some really cool charts here, like mints and burns, and then movement, Ethereum to Ronin. So I guess this is when staking was announced, and so like tons of people or tons of tokens got moved from Ethereum to Ronin, because you have pretty high yields, right? Like 170% now, and it was even higher before. So many people moved their tokens from Ethereum to Ronin. Yeah, so this is another thing you can check out, multi-chain Ronin. It's under multi-chain and then Ronin here.
Cool. All right, I think we've gone deep enough on Axie. Thank you for indulging us on that. And there you go, SB in the chat. Hopefully that answers your question of what is going on with Axie. I think next up, if you're up for it, maybe we can dive in on the new Mint Master. And there's been a couple mentions of that in the chat.
Yes, so Mint Master is also new, as you can see. And what is this? So this shows in real time which NFT collections are being minted by people. So Boring Stone Genesis collection has 17 unique minters in the last 15 minutes. Why is this helpful or useful? I mean, I think if you are into NFTs, it will be kind of obvious, but this is a great way to try to catch new NFT collections early on. And you can see when the first mint took place. So if I click here, this is probably a very random collection, but Gangsta Geckos had 1 mint and it was 36 minutes ago. But by default, we sort by the number of minters in the last 15 minutes, because that's where we see the most kind of traction. You can see some other cool stuff down here too, though. You can look at, in the last 24 hours, which collections had the most minting activity. So Wixa Boring Stone Genesis collection, which is the same one that we saw up here. And then Mars Shot Bots, Pixel Turtles, Currency Cats, Evil Elves, etc. Are some other collections that you can spot here. And you can also see which ones have been minted by quote unquote notable buyers. So these are addresses that for various different reasons we've flagged as being notable. And this can sometimes maybe surface stuff that you might want to look a bit more closely at, because these addresses are typically active in NFT flipping and trading. There's also a minting leaderboard, which shows profits after minting. And yeah, so this is pretty cool. Like, you should check it out. In the last 24 hours, looks like or maybe this is not just 24 hours. Actually, I'm not 100% sure. This number here, but you have more than 900 NFT collections there. So lots to dig into, and you can, of course, click through on these as well as you do in NFT Paradise, and you get a NFT God mode for this collection, so that you can break it down and understand who is actually minting this. How many notable buyers? It looks like not so many for this one, but you could click breakdown and you see the top addresses that are minting. There's an uncommon NFT collector that has 255. There's one aliensgoose.eth, who is a smart money address that minted, and they are, looks like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th largest holder of this collection. So
what a fun industry we're in, where you can just be like, we're pouring over these charts. We're like, aliensgoose.eth. Okay, so smart money.
Yeah. And you have Diamond Hands rocketape.eth. Is that how we pronounce this, ENS?
Diamond Hands Rocket Ape. Moon Ape, maybe.
Moon Ape.
Yeah, can you quickly just poke through these, the top balances?
Yeah, like click the addresses, you mean? Or
no, I just mean like I want to see if I recognize any names on this list.
Oh, okay. So I click through like this.
Yeah. So someone in the chat asked if we could dig in on this. They said, "Hello, can you take a look at Boring Stone Genesis collection? It's in Mint Master now." That was from Devrim. Hello, Devrim. Yeah, I would say. Oh, okay. This doesn't excite me too much. That would be my just like quick gut reaction. The reason why it doesn't, I think anything that is like, I mean, this is, so Punk's Comics did like kind of a, I guess magazine. Well, it was a comic book, but like kind of a magazine derivative of CryptoPunks. And then after that, there was another one that was for Bored Ape Yacht Club. I can't even remember what it was. This one feels like a derivative of that almost. And I didn't recognize a single minter there. That's not to say, it's not great, but if I were to see this and I were to see like the people who have minted, it wouldn't excite me so much. Part of why it's helpful to have notable buyers, and there's kind of two ways of interpreting notable. One is what we indicate as notable, which is, people who are highly active in the NFT space. They've made profits flipping NFTs. That's one way of looking at notable. The other way of looking at notable is that they're actually active on Twitter. And people have asked us a few times if Pranksy is net positive or net negative when he buys or when they buy pieces from the collection. One thing I will say about these influencers who buy these pieces is they do bring a ton of eyeballs to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, in Mint Master, we see 100 different projects that have launched in the past couple of days. You have not heard of the majority of them. I have not. No, most people have not heard of the majority of them. But if Pranksy mints one, then all of a sudden you have. Or if one of these other people mints one, then all of a sudden you have. Like we saw the one with the whale emoji a little while back. Like that was one we covered because this whale emoji got into it. So there is value to notable in like the kind of fame sense buyers participating. And so if there's not too many of them, then it doesn't mean it's not good. It just means higher or harder hill to climb for it getting popularity.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good summary. I think those are probably the main things you would look at, right? Like so digging into Boring Stone, I tend to go down and look at this one. I find this quite insightful. This chart gives me a sense right away of like how much traction there is and how the price is moving. If there are notable buyers involved here, very limited, right? I guess this is the guy. Oh, it's Doji. It's a different one. Okay, so there are like different notable buyers, but very few, right? And the one that we saw here, Aliens Goose, okay, you look at how many unique addresses there are, 2,172. Only 34% hold one NFT only, so it's quite concentrated in the hands of a few addresses. Yeah, and then here you have those trades, right? Goose and sticks. Huh. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, again, like, we don't know if this is going to be very popular, but it's not like jumping off the page as being super interesting and super hot. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What about the Surreals?
Yeah. Someone just asked about that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Aram just asked if we can look into that. So let's do it.
So I guess the mint was here. And we scroll down. Here there's a little bit more action, although the price appears to be trending downwards. If I take away the extreme outliers, you can zoom in a bit on the main meat of the chart.
Right, but I wouldn't say really trending downwards. I mean, it's kind of...
It's pretty flat. It's pretty flat, yeah. But it's not trending upwards, at least.
Yeah. So here's actually one thing that people also should look at. This one I think is underexplored in an NFT evaluator's toolkit. If you click in on one of these, maybe any floor piece.
Any floor piece. Okay, let's do like sadguy.eth's piece here.
I won't say which one it was, but one of the addresses you just scrolled over in the last little bit was Josh's. Docs. No one knows who that is.
That's right. No one knows. Okay, it's taking a bit of time to load, but we can look at
just pop it open on OpenSea. One thing you should do is if you scroll down to the bottom here, and you go into the transaction that minted it.
This one.
And then
you want to actually look at this one.
Yeah. And let's see what the gas was. Transaction fee. Okay, so it wasn't too high. It is always worth just checking, like when you dive in on any of these collections, it is worth checking what the transaction fees were and like how much was paid for these. So it looks like 0.18 ETH for 3 of them, so 0.06 for each, plus around, call it another 0.065 for gas. So the all-in cost. Wait, sorry, did I do that math? No, sorry, 0.0065.
This one is 0.06, yeah.
So the all-in cost for one of these is like under 0.07, roughly. And so it is actually quite notable that the floor is like 0.4. That means it has gone up a lot. However, when you're looking at some art blocks ones or ones where there's like a big gas war for it, these things actually, like the floor becomes what the all-in cost is. And so when there's a bunch trading around this like new elevated floor price, you kind of need to understand what's going on there. It's like, it's not that people have, already started flipping these for a huge profit. It's they're trying to offload at whatever their basis cost was.
Exactly. They're just breaking even with the gas cost included, right? On the worst pieces, typically. Makes sense. Yeah, okay, so we were clicking through that, and you can see how this has been actually trading a little bit, this piece. OpenSea user minted it, went to Sad Guy. Sad Guy sold it to OpenSea user, and then OpenSea user sent it to Uncommon NFT Collector.
Okay, so here's another thing.
Yeah.
Because there's always these like tweets about what is going on here? Why are these idiots buying for higher than they're selling for? A lot of the time what's happening there, I mean, first of all, there are a lot of bad NFT flippers who are buying high and selling low. That is definitely true. But when it's in these like kind of tight price bands like this, when they're buying for 0.4 and then flipping for 0.27, a lot of the time what's happening is there is a reveal that happens. So people will buy at 0.4 because they're expecting a rare reveal. So, when you view each of these unrevealed NFTs as like a lottery ticket, you could get a really rare one that you end up flipping for. Here we see sales going for as high as like mid 2s. So when you can 5x your money, you can do the math on that. You can say like, okay, if I'm, if there's X percent, Exactly.
Yeah.
There's X% chance I flip it for 2.5 ETH. There's Y% chance I flip it for 1 ETH, and there's Z% chance I flip it for 0.3 ETH. And you can really calculate the expected value of what your investment would be.
100%.
And then if it's high,
that's true.
Yeah.
By definition, when you do a reveal and you get a very not rare piece, the value of that piece drops. So it's just like, that's how markets work. So you're right. It's not necessarily that people are actually really bad traders always. It's just that there's a reveal and you want to offload it now with the new information because the value actually dropped on it, the fundamental value of it. Makes a lot of sense. Should we look at some of these other collections here, or?
Yeah, although I feel like we didn't do that one justice, the Surreals.
Okay.
Let's just quickly poke through a couple of the other stats for anyone who doesn't have Nansen.
I often like to look at holders just to get a sense of how many people have it. So 4,400 again. So 49% hold only one NFT, which is important. The higher that number, typically the better, because you want to have many different addresses that hold only one, because you're less likely to sell if you only have one. If you have 20, you might sell 1 or 2 or 3, right, of that, and it doesn't make that much of a difference. And then we could look at the breakdown a little bit and see who's actually buying this. So I would go down to the top balances first and do what you did earlier, like click through. You don't see a lot of named guys, and you don't see like smart money. Although Cypher Sweeper, I remember this address because it sweeped a bunch of Cypher NFTs.
As you might imagine from the name. Did we name it that or what?
Yeah, we named it.
Okay.
So what this wallet did, I remember this. Like what this wallet did was, there was a Cypher mint. Cypher is an NFT project, and I think you could only buy one per address. So they just generated like a bunch of individual addresses programmatically, then bought with those addresses, and then like sent the NFTs back to the mothership, which was like this address. So relatively sophisticated, I would say. But that's why it's called the Cypher Sweeper address. And there were several, actually 2, maybe even 3 addresses. That's why we have this little indication of which address it is over here.
I'm going to throw an idea out at John here, our head of product, to extend the functionality of our new right-click magic tooling. What if, when you right-click, there's also a little info section where it actually gives you the information on the label? So, for example, uncommon NFT collector, you right-click, and it tells you what uncommon NFT collector means.
Oh, that's funny. I thought you meant you want to see like which other labels it had, because
that is also important, and I think that would also be a really valuable thing where you right click, it shows other labels for this. But the first time someone comes on here and they see Cypher Sweeper, like I didn't even know what Cypher Sweeper is. So if we've got explanations for these different labels, like it actually would be really helpful to give some more context on these things.
The other day, I was giving a demo to a venture fund, and Snoop Dogg showed up in the addresses, like, which is pretty funny. Like, basically, the address that owns Snoop Dogg's CryptoPunk was like buying NFTs. It's like, okay, is that actually Snoop Dogg buying NFTs? I mean, I guess so. Or whoever.
I thought you were going to say Snoop Dogg showed up on the pitch, but
no, he didn't, unfortunately. Although I did actually pitch to another very famous artist this week, but I don't know if I should mention who.
Artist, musician, like visual artist.
Yeah, group.
Musician.
Literally has billions of plays on Spotify.
Hell yeah.
Billions. How many artists have billions of plays on Spotify? And they are big on NFTs and crypto. So,
did you pitch them on making the jingle for Nansen office hours?
Oh no, I should have done that.
We still haven't gotten that done yet.
Yeah.
For anyone who Yeah, for anyone who was not watching our early episodes of Office Hours, Alex and I were joking about about getting a jingle back in the day. Nansen, you ape into shit. What was yours? You had one. It was Flintstones themed.
Yeah, I can't remember how it went. Also, I've lost my voice after going to New York City. So
yeah, I'll rethrow
the great singer, as you can see if you go back to the old videos.
I'll rethrow the challenge out there. If anyone has any musical talent, we're looking for a jingle for our office hours.
If it's good, we will reward you with either stable coins or some rare NFT, or maybe
or subscription, or
maybe subscription,
or all the above.
All of the above. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So we're back on Surreals. Something that just jumped out at me as you were scrolling through is the huge sales. So 20 ETH, right at the bottom there.
Oh, these ones. Yeah.
This is always notable when there are just huge sales. It kind of shows that some people are punting on this collection, like just making a big bet on this collection. It's even more notable when it's at least over 10 ETH. 10 ETH is arbitrary. I'm not saying 10 ETH is like a special magical number. I'm just saying like there are kind of thresholds in these pricing. And so in the early days of a project, it's all trading under like 1 ETH. And then once you finally break that 1 ETH barrier, then you're like, okay, now something's going on here. And then once you break the 10 ETH barrier, then like it gets a little more interesting. So someone has clearly punted on these more rare ones. And yeah,
these are pretty cool.
I would say something I'd be looking for here is if it's different wallets. So if it's just one person, then they could just be like, they could just be blindly aping. Here it looks like this No Radio bought 2, and then there were 2 other buyers. No Radio, I guess that's how you would pronounce that. No Radio.
That is Cat and M1RO.
It's also important to note the number of views on these things. So 1.4K, like that's actually a pretty good proxy for how many people are. So this one 923. It's a good proxy for how many people actually give a shit. So if you see like a big sale happen and like 100 people have viewed it, who cares? But here 923 people cared enough to look, and 17 actually favorited this. So there is actually there's something going on here.
Yeah, I was just trying to eyeball like from the traits. It looks like these ones have this dilated polyhedron head and outsider's blessing. Both of these have that, right? So maybe they are the 2 only ones that have both of that, would imagine. And then there's this one also has outsider's blessing, and this one does not. This one has, what is this? Wait, let me go back. Just outsider, okay. Cage Sun. So I guess Cage Sun maybe is this head. Yeah, I mean it says head here, so makes sense. So they have like rare heads, basically.
Cool.
Okay. Fun stuff. And you can see the history of it. This one kind of mooned 0.06 and then 8 and then 20. The NFT sniper.
Well done, NFT sniper. So
yeah, NFT sniper did pretty well.
In contrast to that other one that we saw, this one would be a lot more exciting. I mean, maybe you missed the boat on this one, depending on what price range you play around with NFTs on. But this would be an example of like healthier action, more adoption. Adoption. I don't know if that's the right word, but more excitement over a project.
So you said this is kind of like a lottery ticket, right? With NFTs, like when you're getting the reveal, and this feels like kind of an example of what a lottery ticket looks like. They just mint it, and then like boom, 10 ETH right away. Mint it, boom, 20 ETH. Note that it's the same buyer.
Yeah,
we should look at this buyer. Like I would want to understand a bit better what else they are buying.
While we're looking,
mostly Surreals.
While we're looking into that, Aral in the chat asks, it would be great to get more clarity about the names/labels for each wallet. When is a wallet labeled by Nansen? But we can dive into that.
Yeah. So first of all, you can go to docs.nansen.ai to read up on. If you click here, like what do they mean? So this describes a lot of the wallets we have, the wallet labels we have. So they're grouped together like trader types, NFT collectors, some sales, fund, storage, administrative, which is more kind of technical, other labels, and some emojis, like what does it mean? And so this could help. So to answer a question like when is an address labeled, I guess under what conditions, right, is the question. And it's really at a high level, two things. Either it's like a behavioral label, so we see some sort of behavior happening. For example, they're a smart liquidity provider, or they're a notable, like legendary NFT collector, which has to do with how many trades you've done. Or it's entities. So like we know this address belongs to Binance or Coinbase or Alameda or Three Arrows, then we will label it. So those are the two main categories, and then you could dive into both of those. But the behavioral one, you get explanations for in the docs.nansen.ai page that I just showed.
And then double clicking on that a little bit, can you explain how naming works? So like how does, let's say a wallet has 20 labels, how do we pick which name, at least broad strokes?
Secret sauce. No, we can take an example. So mam.eth, let's have a look at this address, right? Over here in the overview. Oh, this is the no radio. Okay. So this one has several. They also have one which appears to be someone's name, but they no longer have it, which is what the asterisk indicates. So which of these labels should we pick? First of all, it makes sense that you'd want to pick addresses that are less common, right? If there's a wallet
labels that are less common.
Labels that are less common. If millions of users have MetaMask swap user, like if millions of addresses have that, that's not a very informative label. So we will reduce the priority of using this as a name. But ENS names are by definition unique unless they are previously owned ENSs. In that case, in theory, several different addresses can have it. But active ENS names like mam.eth, we are unique. So they will tend to get priority. And we also tend to pick the shorter ENS names because they are more premium. In fact, if you want to buy an ENS name and it's short, like 3 characters, it will cost you more than if you buy one that's like 9 characters. So they're a bit more rare. That's programmatically how we select the wallet name. Sometimes we override this manually, but typically that's how the names are decided.
And then Aral asks a follow-up. So the names are always given by Nansen? We don't see the ENS name of the wallet then? Yes, you do. We collect all of the ENS names, both current and previous ones that were held by a wallet, and we list all of that in the labels. Like Alex said, sometimes we manually override it so it doesn't show the ENS handle, or if there's a label that we give it that's even more rare than their ENS handle, which actually doesn't really happen. But I guess there are situations where it shows a label rather than an ENS handle. But that would be kind of the explanation.
Yeah, so maybe I can find another example, perhaps. Penny bags. Okay. Pennybags.eth, penny vault. I mean, these pennybags.eth and pennyvault.eth, that comes directly from the blockchain. Like we read out the events from the Ethereum name service smart contracts. And then when this address is bought, the ENS name and associated with their address, there's an event that indicates that, and that's what we use to label it. So this comes, directly from the blockchain. We don't kind of manually add these ENS names.
In a related, but, well, I'm going to say it's unrelated, but somewhat related topic. If one has never bought an ENS handle before, time and time again in the crypto markets, we've seen that projects without a token typically end up airdropping and rewarding early adopters of certain projects. And so if you've never bought an ENS handle before, it seems like one of those things where you just kind of can cover your bases by maybe collecting one. Again, not financial advice. Who knows? I have no idea if they end up doing something like that. But there's like always speculation on Twitter or in Telegram groups about which projects will do an airdrop. And so that might be one to you can potentially collect some free money down the road.
One of the many benefits of being a pioneer in the future of finance is that you get rewarded by these different projects. And so that's amazing because it encourages you to test out new things. And it's a nice tradition we have developed in the crypto space. And yeah, ENS is one good example. Perhaps, we don't know. We have no inside information on this, but makes sense that they would maybe perhaps want to decentralize it at some point. Another one, which is also from just the rumor mill, but I'm going to drop it here as a little alpha leak, potentially, but we don't know, is Element.fi. I heard some rumors, not verified, that there might be a little retroactive airdrop on this one as well. So this is a fixed rate protocol.
Are you staking them?
I am now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not
staking,
and I'm like
I'm
really
not staking, but I'm using the product. I'm not staking, but I've bought some fixed rate products.
Can you show us what you did? Like give us the full simple version.
Yeah. So also not financial advice. Might be risks, smart contract hacks.
Yeah. We get it. Show us where to ape. Show us where to ape.
but basically, you can buy into these like fixed rate products where you maybe lock up a specific amount of USDC tokens and you lock in this amount of interest, right? And then the term will end on a specific date, and you will effectively get the interest paid out on that date. And so the reason I mentioned it is because I heard some rumors, I don't know if it's true, that there's going to be a retroactive airdrop for this protocol. Meaning if you are like somehow using this, I don't even know how, but I would imagine that if you're if you're buying some of these products, then depending on how much you buy, you might be rewarded in the future. And so
I'm guessing there's probably usually airdrops reward users for different facets of usage or different types of usage. So I'm guessing there would be one for buying these products, one for participating in the pools, one for minting and LPing. And I don't know if these would become like multipliers or what, every time it's different, but yeah. If you have some spare stables in your wallet, this is an option for you, not a recommendation, but an option.
Something to look into.
Well, I'll just say it. Yeah, I'll probably toss some stables in here after this just to test it out.
Just to test it. Yeah. Okay.
These are our notes. We see the notes. So our analysts have prepared a couple notes here.
Exactly. So we've touched on Mint Master. We've touched on Axie. What else should we look at? Are there any notes in the chat that we might want to cover? I'm going to grab a.
What was I saw? Okay. Let's check the chat here. Aral asks, do we cover the ENS market? Not too closely. Yeah, I think probably the best place to check that would be possibly on OpenSea, the activity feed for ENS. I think the vast majority of volume is on primary sales. I don't think there's a very robust secondary market that has developed for ENS handles.
Yeah, that's a great question though. I never actually looked for that. I don't even know what the collection would be called here. Is it just ENS or name? Zero name service. Yeah, that's something to investigate separately. Would be interesting to look at that.
I think one way to backtrack on that would be finding.
I think it's because it's messy with the contracts. Like they have like many different contracts. It's not. It probably doesn't follow like the ERC 721 standard.
Yeah. One could theoretically go to an address with the ENS handle, open it up on OpenSea, find where it got minted, and then check the contract name on Etherscan. That would be one somewhat convoluted way, but yeah.
So here's the
that works too. You just pull it there.
Oh wait, I could just plug in here. Like I don't know what's gonna happen if we do this. If it's gonna work. Collection name loading. It might just be stuck. Who knows?
You're about to take down the entire Nansen website here.
We broke Nansen.
It's going to be like Facebook and Instagram the other day.
Yeah, no, it looks like there's not much happening. Yeah, I think it's probably because it's non-standard. Yeah, so too bad. Oh, wait, did I copy? Yeah, no, this is, wait, I might have screwed up. I might have actually picked, no, it's right. That was the asset. Never mind.
All right, let's see what else is in the chat. Christian asks if we can dig into SBF's wallet, and the answer is we don't do too much analysis of individual wallets. We try and keep it to entities or funds, just kind of out of privacy for individuals. I guess a proxy way of looking at that would be looking at Alameda's wallets, which we do cover fairly extensively. And I think the best place to look into something like that would be just tracking the smart money dashboard. What do you think?
Yeah, good to see if we see any like Alameda wallets here. There's an Alameda Elite Dex Trader. And you can see if they've been interacting with any other interesting counterparties. Probably is going to be a lot of other Alameda wallets, like you can see here, and Binance for the Ethereum addresses. So yeah, this is where the ETH has been going. So to a bunch of other Alameda addresses. Yeah, this is kind of like a rabbit hole that you can choose to go down or not. Volume in, you see where it comes from, and then you can also see where the volume goes out there, and the same with the number of tokens. So like how many tokens. You can see this is very active, probably liquidity or market making in these different pools, SushiSwap and Uniswap pools. Yeah, so looks like it's doing a lot of wrapped Ether and wrapped Bitcoin volume, some stable coins. Maybe this is just like their market maker wallet for Uniswap and SushiSwap pools on chain, where they go delta neutral, like trading on centralized exchanges versus this one on DEXs, maybe. Just speculating here.
Neat. All right, what else do we talk about here? There's nothing else going on chain. That's it. We've covered everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's obviously a million different things to look at. We did look at smart hot contracts, for example. We also didn't look at this entity Billboard, which I have to admit I've not spent that much time on yet. I would like to. So this this shows different entities and how active they are, and we even have some like sectors that we have classified the different entities into. So you can see which entities have increase in the number of transactions and the number of users using them. What about if I sort by this? Okay, looks like wrapped Ether. Okay, I don't think this is right. Oh, number of smart money users. I'm sorry. Number of users in the last 30 days, like wrapped Ether has 840,000 users, by users, we mean addresses. And Tether is also used a lot. Coinbase, Uniswap Center, which is USDC effectively. OpenSea, Axie Infinity, Binance, 1inch, MetaMask Swap. So you can get a sense of like what's actually being used in terms of entities. Keep in mind, entities are aggregations of multiple addresses potentially, right? So Binance here is like lots of different addresses. Yeah, more than 1 million transactions across 190,000 addresses in the last 30 days. So yeah, this is kind of cool actually to look at the macro view of what's happening in terms of which entities are the most active on chain or being used the most.
This is pretty cool. Actually, I haven't dug in here either. In the chat, we have a question here from SB, which is there any way to see which team makes an NFT? Like if that's Dom Hoffman, the guy who founded Vine, Byte, he did Loot, he did Blitmaps. We've talked about him before. If he does a new project, how do you find out? And I would say
there is a way.
Yeah, go ahead.
So maybe we should find one of his projects maybe we can find Loot and just take a case study on that. So Loot, there it is. Okay. So the way I would do it, just thinking on the spot here. So I click down on this and I would probably grab the NFT address, which is itself a smart contract. And then I would go to Wallet Profiler and I would plug in that address in Wallet Profiler. The reason for that is it's going to show here the related wallets, and it shows that it's been deployed by Dom in this case. And so where do you go from here? Well, you could look at that address, Dom, and maybe you could put up an alert anytime this address does something. Anytime.
Let's see how you do that.
So let's grab the address. Let's go to Smart Alerts, create new alert, and then contract creation. And I say Dom ETH created contract. Boom. Enter address. Boom. Enter my Telegram ID, and there you go.
And to get the if you've never done this before, you can follow some steps. We have instructions down at the bottom on how to get the Telegram ID for the bot.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're gonna make this a bit easier, but like you can just follow these explainers. But so what is Smart Alerts? It's a way to set up these rules so you get notifications in Telegram, Discord, or Slack when certain things happen. And the things are decided by you. So what do you care about? Well, you care about when dom.eth creates contract. So that's why on Ethereum, you could do the same thing here, by the way, like same thing on Polygon or BSC. Some people have asked, why can't we just do it on all the networks? And maybe that's something we should add. But I just take off, this is the event type. If I also want to get notified of transactions, could do that. Also token transfers when they do that. But here I'm specifically wanting to look at contract creations. And you can have multiple addresses here if you wanted to. So you can also, if you click show more, so let's say, dom.eth sent million USDC. Then I can change and say token transfer. And I can say 1 million minimum USD value. And I can say tokens USDC. And now I will get notifications every time that happens. So it's a pretty cool, useful system. Just make sure that you can't find like a holy grail smart alert that will do everything for you. You have to like replace them, retire them, delete them, and then replace them with new ones, depending on what you're focused on at the moment. But that could be one way to actually go from how we went from seeing Loot, grabbing the address, pasting the address into Wallet Profiler, looking at the related wallet, which was the deployer, right? Deployed by dom.eth, then just copying dom.eth into a smart alert, and voila. It's kind of nice how all these different pieces can play together in this way.
Other wallets that you can play around with on this note would be like a YFI deployer or Yearn deployer. You can figure out, when they're deploying new contracts. In fact, when we started making the smart alerts, I think that was like probably the first smart alert I made, was like tracking when they deployed new projects, because this was when I don't know, there were new offshoots that were being built, or new projects that were being built by Andre and co. But I think that's actually really.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, I think maybe one thing we could consider is to have some kind of aggregation of addresses that have deployed a lot of NFT collections, because I suspect that some of the same addresses will deploy multiple NFT collections. So I wonder if there's like a cluster that you could surface that. But yeah, that's something we can consider on the product back room.
Yeah, but I did want to just re-emphasize that you should be Marie Kondoing your smart alerts frequently. If they no longer spark joy, get rid of them.
Absolutely. Good advice.
All right, let's see if we have any other questions in the chat. We do, however, we are coming up on the hour here. Anything else you wanted to cover, Alex, before we start wrapping up?
I think we've covered quite a lot of ground, so might be a good place to wrap up.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us here, and thank you everyone for joining the first 42 sessions of season 1 of Daniel on Office Hours. We'll be coming back for season 2 sometime soon. But actually, to be clear, Office Hours is not ending. Alex will continue on the mic here. What are your plans?
Have some guests.
There you go.
We're gonna have some special guests. New special guest, maybe every week. Let's see. Maybe some of the special guests are so fun that we will bring them on for a second week. But the plan is to bring on some special guests. So if you have any requests on who you want to see on the show, unfortunately, you can't request Daniel for the next few months. But
you can.
Anyone else?
Make me feel good.
Okay. So how many requests do we need for you to come back from holidays and do a guest appearance on your own show?
If I see that the people want it, I'd be happy to. There's no specific numbers. I won't play games with the people.
So you can let us know on Twitter who you want to see.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I
was thinking there's 4 categories of people that could tap in here. One is fund analysts. So, you previously brought on Daryl, and that was, I think, a very popular episode and really helpful for people to see how funds use the product. 2 is Rockstar community members. So these are people we've highlighted in the past, like MEV Collector or Schwal, or there's a number of people. 3 would be some of the other like YouTube channels that we've kind of either sponsored or talked to about their usage of Nansen, like Justin. And then 4 would be Nansen team members. So could be Paul to chat about NFTs, John to talk about the product. Who else? Ed to chat about alpha. So I would say those are the kind of like 4 categories. And then within them, we've got a lot of options. So there's your menu.
I like it. So for people, the call to action here is let us know on Twitter who you want to see on Office Hours, and we'll do our best to bring them on the show.
Yeah. The other call to action is
smash and like all the buttons on YouTube.
I hate that so much when people do it on YouTube. We got to figure out a better way to do that. In season 2, we got to figure out an elegant way of, I don't know, I guess building up the channel without being obnoxious as fuck. Although we are at 3,800 subscribers.
Amazing.
I remember when we first breached like 1,000, 2,000.
Just starts rolling.
That's the beautiful thing about exponential growth.
We almost
Right.
have as many YouTube subscribers as we have active Nansen subscribers. Almost.
That's a
We have
fun
more
fact.
Nansen subscribers, but yeah, one day they will all come together.
All right, let's wrap it up there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us and see you again soon. Bye.
Bye bye.